And once again, it's another edition of the Dudley Hilton Show. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host, joined by the head coach of the University of Pikeville Bears. Coach Dudley Hilton retired as Kentucky's winningest high school coach, three-time state champion. It's the third year of the Dudley Hilton era, and the Bears come in 4-3 after a 35-24 win over Bethel. Much needed win. Coach Dudley Hilton, welcome in.
Well, yes, you say about a needed win. It sure was, Andrew. And, our kids' homecoming, a lot of things going on during the week, and our new president officially been sworn in and everything, and just a lot of activities going on, and we ended in a good way. I just felt like our kids fought hard all the way down there Saturday afternoon, and Bethel was a very good team. They played, lost a couple heartbreakers during the season, but we're talking about a team went deep in the playoffs last year and beat Georgetown and this and that, beat us about 50 last year. Right. So we made a heck of a turnaround, and I was proud of how our kids fought.
Absolutely, and of course, talk about a much-needed win. Two of the last three losses by the Bears are games that you held a lead late in that one. Turnover bug bites a little bit. Did you have thoughts in the second half when you had some turnovers that maybe here we go again?
Yeah, Andrew, it's something in the back of all of our minds a little bit, and that's bad. You shouldn't have that, but
sure.
The way it's turned out the last 2.5 years, that's the way it's been, and we feel like we've given away 5 games since I've been here, and and sure that would be in the back of your mind, but we got to have to get it out of our mind. I think we're playing better defense now. I think we're fighting more. Our JV teams are winning now. We won a big game the other day, but winning breeds winning,
sure.
And you get all that stuff out of the back of your mind. So hopefully, a few more good games like that can rid us something that that's in the back of our mind. But we played a little careless right there in the fourth quarter, and we've got to stop that. And but big thing, Andrew, we played good defense and made some plays when we had to, and our back was up against the wall. And we answered the call, and I think that was showing of that we are putting those things behind us.
Absolutely, team growing up from week to week. We see that coming off an off week and getting the win over Bethel. You've got a tough one coming up with Georgetown. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but before we go there, and we'll go to highlights in just a bit, what's the injury report after the Bethel win?
Well, it was a hard-fought game, but I think we're all right. Seth came out, Miller, a little bit of hobble, but he practiced good this morning, so I think he's okay. And a couple of linemen, I think we're good. Johnny Brown, one of our best linemen, didn't get to play last week, and I think he'll be back in the lineup this week. And I think things are looking pretty good on our offensive line. And as far as I know, knock on wood, right now we should be pretty healthy.
And we'll talk with one of those offensive linemen tonight, one of our guests. When we step into the Bears Den, we'll talk with Jacob Ryan, and he's been a big part of that offensive line growing up. Also, Demetrius Taylor from the defensive side, who has played well this year as well in that ever-improving defensive unit. Coach, you had an off week. You needed it to heal up a little bit, nurse some wounds, but it also throws a team off routine. You get out of the routine of Saturday to Saturday, the routine of watching film, getting some conditioning in, getting in the weight room, early morning practice, working on the next week's opponent in scouting report. The week off, you're back to routine now. How big of a difference does that make?
Well, it throws you off, but it's something that we welcome. We lost 3 games in a row, and we was kind of losing a little confidence in ourselves. The only game we was really out of was the University of Cumberland's, and that was one of those games we had 3 or 4 days rest and played the number 2 team in the country. So that was a little understandable, I guess. But coming off the heartbreaker down to Cumberland, our kids they regrouped. They was ready to get back into action, and we used the off week to prepare ourselves a little bit more and played a JV game that we got to look at some of our young kids and give them an opportunity. And we practiced good all week last week, and hopefully we've started off good this week.
Newkeith Richardson named NAI National Special Teams Player of the Week after a 76-yard punt return for a touchdown and a 44-yard punt return for a touchdown. A little bit rusty. You had talked about it before. He had to get back into playing shape and become accustomed to college football again. Is he there?
Well, I don't think he's there completely, but the other day he had to give him a lot of good confidence. He had a lot. Kids enjoyed blocking for him. I think Coach Williams headed my punt return team and does a great job. And all we wanted to do was give him a chance to get going, and that's what we did. We blocked the outside guys and gave him a chance to get going 5 yards, and that vision came to him. I think he's going to keep getting better every week because, you set up a game for 3 years, son. That's a long time to set out a game. But Newkeese is a battler. He wants the ball every time if he can get it because that's what he's that's what he's always done. So, but I think he's getting better. His speed's getting back to him, and the old saying. Walter Brew used to say all the time, speed kills, and that it does in this college level too. And when Newkeese gets that foot on you and step on you, he's got that speed.
Absolutely. He's one of those guys that you can see that extra gear. And when he does, he's tough for many opponents in the Mid-South to run with. Also, A.J. Graham fighting off some rust. We're seeing sparks of A.J. Graham throwing it very well.
Well, yes, I'm very pleased with that. I don't think we had any. I don't know if we had an interception or not. So there's a good sign there. But we had to depend on the running game because when you got Newkeese and Shantez Johnson out there and Hill and Amos and even Shante Zachary's a big plus on a receiver and so. They got to defend those guys, so it kind of takes one more out of the box and lets you running game. And our receivers, they don't like to have the running game, but you got to do what they let you do, and I think that's what we did the other night. So we didn't throw a whole lot, but I thought AJ controlled the game very well. He got hurt. Reese came in for a series and did a good job with us. So that was a good combination there. But AJ's getting better also, Andrew.
Absolutely. Seth Miller, after being bothered by the hip injury for a couple of weeks, ran very hard, 134 yards on the ground, and as you mentioned, threw it less, ran it more. This team seems to take what defenses give it. But is this a better team when you run a more balanced offense?
Well, I think so. I think this is a better team when we play good defense and give the offense the ball more, and have more turns. I think that's where we're going to be a lot better offensive team when they can get more reps and more series in. And you got to play defense doing that. So, I just feel like this team will get better. The defense is getting more confident, and in return, that means the offense is going to get the ball more and maybe better field position and better opportunity to do the run or pass combination.
Good win for the Bears Saturday, 35-24 over Bethel, and we will recap that win. The Bears improved to 4-3 on the year. Next up, Georgetown. We'll take a look back at the highlights from the Bethel game and also step into the Bears Den. We'll meet one of the other members of the coaching staff. Also from the offensive line, you'll meet Jacob Ryan. From the defensive side, Demetrius Taylor, all coming up on the Dudley Hilton Show, and we'll get a little sneak peek at Georgetown. Highlights on the way next when the Dudley Hilton Show returns. It's presented by Appalachian Wireless. Welcome back in. The Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. I'm Andrew Joyce, and we're joined by the head coach of our University of Pikeville Bears, Coach Dudley Hilton, who bring the Bears in this week with a 4-3 record, coming off a 35-24 win over Bethel. And we mentioned earlier Newkeese Richardson, NAI National Special Teams Player of the Week. With a national award like that, more name recognition for the university. What does that do for recruiting?
Well, that definitely, helps recruiting because that's something you can showcase. It's just like beating Moorhead the first game of the season,
Sure.
That's something you can use. So at our level, we got to use everything we can. And if you want to get noticed, you can get noticed here as well as you can at some of these other schools. So definitely we'll use that for our recruiting purpose.
It's been a couple of years since we've had a National Player of the Week. The last time it happened, one of our guests on tonight's show, Trevor Hoskins, received the National Offensive Player of the Week back in 2011. So making history at the University of Pikeville with the football program, and certainly can get notice on the national level here. We're going to take a look at highlights from the win over Bethel. Things got started in the first half. Jeremy Hill, New Keith gets the National Special Teams Player of the Week, but Jeremy Hill with a huge return to get things started.
We had some great blocking right here. You'll see Amos out there in front of him right there make a good block. And, when you can start on your 40-yard line going in, that's a good way to start a ball game.
Absolutely. Gives your offense a lot of confidence when they are already on that side of the 50.
Here goes your healthy Seth Miller, makes a good run to start off. And, we're already got ourselves down there in the field goal range, but we ain't thinking of no field goal. We're going to take it in, and I think Seth takes it in the last 2 yards, just finds that little seam, goes in standing up.
Good blocking there. I don't think he was touched going in, and Seth Miller is so much better when he's 100% or near it.
Here where defense takes off trying to get the ball back. There's Taylor, you're talking about the player of the week. That man right there had 12 tackles, could easily made a player of the week also.
12 tackles, 4 for loss, also had a sack, and here's a big interception.
Yeah, that's your Prairie Central boy, Travis there, made a good interception, give the offense another chance to take another score in there the first quarter.
And here is a rifle shot, A.J. Graham.
Beautiful.
And he just hits Jeremy Hill on the money in the end zone, 40-yard touchdown. That's one of the prettiest plays we've seen all year.
First play after a turnover, and then here comes Scott Acomendo. You had him on the show a couple weeks ago, just makes a crushing hit in the backfield. That gets everybody fired up right there.
Seth Miller again just splits the defense there.
Unbelievable, son. That goes for about 50-some yards right there.
59 unofficially on our count. Then A.J. Graham showing some footwork.
Here we are still in the first quarter and up 21-0. So, we just dominated that first quarter for sure. I think it's Jade Haddix and Scott Acomendo again makes a crushing hit right there.
Acomendo gets the finish. Jade Haddix got it started with great penetration.
And here's the other little running back. Just Terrell did a great job right there. About 26, 29 yards right there.
Marquise Terrell on the carry. And then again, Graham goes back to the air.
Shante, boys, I tell you, Shantae's made him a good receiver, and he's one of the leading receiver on the team right now. Just sure hand. And, we say consistent. He's very consistent. Here's your big play, another big sack in the backfield. There's your man, Taylor Woods. Taylor Woods made 2 tackles that you won't see on the highlight that saved touchdowns. It's unbelievable what he did.
See another punt return now.
Yeah, here goes your first return. You can see there's good blocking, but again, he's got the speed. And here comes your last block. He just gets all twisted up, don't know which way to turn,
No one within 10 yards. New Keith Richards.
Yeah, just big time play right there. Big time.
Another weapon for this Bear team.
Here's your punter there. Got rushed out, got pushed out there a little bit, but now he ended up getting a big first down right there.
How about Karapanzik there? The rush was on, just tucked it, ran with it, picks up a big first.
Sure did. Here's AJ again, scrambling out of the pocket. Makes another good hit right there, and that's Jeremy Hill right there for another first down. Big play for us right there. Again, here's Taylor Woods in the backfield. I think he had 4 tackles for a loss, 1 for a sack, 12 tackles on a day. Just outstanding job.
Absolutely. Graham to throw, steps up out of the pocket, and then rolls.
There's you, Shantez Johnson, number 19. I think he was been down a little bit as far as health-wise, but he's in full strength now.
Graham steps up in the pocket and then decides to run. Big gain right here.
22 yards, a big play for us right there. Sure was.
Heading to the half.
Then we come out second half, and Seth come out first play or second play of the half, 27 yards. Get us going good second half again. And I think AJ hit your number 10 there. Zachary again across the middle, boom. Just knows how his shoulders gets going upfield. Every step he takes, he's get sure yardage.
Shante Zachary's been well coached, and you know he is not afraid of go between the hashes.
There you go. Here's your second punt return. Has to back up and catch that. But see how those outside people made those blocks. Just give him those steps, and then he's off for the races. And just don't want to see no stupid penalties in the back, and we didn't get any. Just did a great job right there.
That one goes for 56 yards for the touchdown.
That's the only touchdown we scored the second half, Andrew, and defense took over after that. You can see that poor boy right there. He fought for his life all day long right there. We really got after him right there.
Sally with the 8-yard loss.
Yeah. Sally kind of does a good job our second half. I see him again. Just making, he had to go home a couple of days in Georgia there for a funeral, and came back and ready to go. Here he is again. That's Salmon to make that the big interception. Kind of seals the game for us. John Dudley's out there in front leading the block. He takes the quarterback out right there. But defense played very, very well second half. Held the team rushing for about 200 and some yards a game. Held about 50 yards and just you know, carried us there in the second half. And the offense, you know, they sputtered a little bit, but you know, still when you play defense, you can afford to kind of skip, you know, not do so well offensively.
That defensive unit really seems to be coming together and developing some depth on the defensive side. We had several highlights from the defensive side, and it wasn't one or two individuals. We talked about Trevor, of course, Taylor Woods, but he had a huge game, but we mentioned a lot of different names on the defensive side.
Yeah, again, you know, if we're going to keep improving, that's what we got to improve. We got to get the offensive ball more, and the offense got to help the defense some by taking care of the ball. We had too many turnovers. You know, if we had four turnovers, and you have that many turnovers, you don't win many ball games, and you better play defense, and that's what we did. So defense got to, I mean, offense got to protect the ball a little bit more and not have those turnovers, but if they do, and then defense got to call the, you know, make the call and do a better job. But you know, Taylor Woods had a great game. Salmon had made a big interception there. Travis made a big interception, and you know, it was a good team effort.
Absolutely. Coach Dudley Hilton, we're going to step out. We'll go to the Bears Den. We'll talk with someone from the offense, someone from the defense, Demetrius Taylor and Jacob Ryan coming up. But you've got a graduate assistant around the program this year, a guy that holds many of the passing records, Trevor Hoskins. What does it mean to have a guy like Trevor Hoskins around the program?
Well, he's somebody who's been here, and he loves the Bears and U Pike, and he's wanting to, you know, be a coach, and he's willing to stay here and work with our program. Done a great job with our JV team out there, and you know, he's you know, I like to think working under Holland, and even seeing Brian Williams, the old Middlesboro boy too, that you know, he's learning from the system, and we like to, hopefully we're bringing him up the right way, but he's left it here in Pikeville, and that's say something for our school system and for him that loves this University of Pikeville.
Absolutely. Of course, graduated in May, a degree in communications, working on his master's in sports management, and that's what college football is all about, preparing young men for futures. And Trevor Hoskins, he's one of those guys that has a bright future in front of him. Coach Hilton, we'll rejoin you. We'll get a look at the scouting report on Georgetown. We'll step to the Bears Den next, and we'll talk with Trevor Hoskins, graduate assistant. You're tuned to the Dudley Hilton Show. U-Pike football presented by Appalachian Wireless.
Not even close to the end, it's just beginning. Life is getting lighter.
Welcome back in. The Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. We talk U Pike football, and the coach will rejoin us in just a few moments when we get a scouting report on Georgetown. Right now, we talk with another member of the coaching staff and a guy that we're quite familiar with. We've seen him grow up, graduate of Middlesboro High School in 2007, went on to Eastern Kentucky University for a couple of years, part of a couple of OVC championships, then transferring to the University of Pikeville. And before leaving, Trevor Hoskins owns the quarterback records. All single game, season, and career passing records belong to Trevor Hoskins, and also named National Player of the Week while playing for the University of Pikeville. Graduated in May 2013, a degree in communications. Made me a little nervous. Thought you were coming after my job, and now I learned you're going after Coach Hilton's, and working on a master's in, of course, sports management, one of the new programs. Trevor, welcome back in. It's great to see you.
Oh, thank you. It's good to be here.
Of course, Trevor Hoskins does own the record books at the University of Pikeville for quarterbacks, and it's got to make you proud. Any opportunity to needle the guys that are playing the position now that, look, you guys can't backtalk until you own a couple of these?
Oh, no, I don't do any of that. You know, it was great what I was been able to do and everything like that. But, you know, I really enjoy working with the quarterbacks. You know, Coach Holland allows me to work with those guys, and I've really enjoyed trying to help them and give them as much insight as I possibly can from being able to be here. And, you know, playing against some of the same teams that they're playing against now. I've played for the last 3 years, so anything I can do to help, anything I can tell them to try to do. But, I don't do much talking or anything like that.
You're really not one of those talkers at all. And we've even tried to get you to talk a couple of times on this show. You just won't go there. And I think that says a lot about your character. Trevor Hoskins, let's back up for those that are just tuned in. And maybe someone has never seen the show before, they don't know Trevor Hoskins. Let's talk about your football background, where you played your high school ball, and when you got started playing.
I started playing when I was 5 years old. You know, I'm from Middlesboro, Kentucky, so I've been playing since I was 5. Came up the school system in Middlesboro, graduated from Middlesboro High School in 2007, where I played under Coach Kenny Roark. And then I took a scholarship to Eastern Kentucky University, and I was there for 2.5 years. I, played under Coach Alan Holland, who's here now. And then when I was looking to transfer, Coach Holland got this job and started talking with him and thought it would be a great opportunity. Turns out it's been the best move I've ever made. Can't even express how much I've enjoyed my time here at the University of Pikeville.
Of course, able to secure the bachelor's degree and work on your master's while continuing to do something you love, being around the game of football. You've had some great ones. Ken Roark, a highly respected coach at Middlesboro, and of course you got to play your home games on Lee Majors Field, and that's always a story that we like to talk about. Back in the day when we got to play there, we talked about $6 million man field. And then you go on to Eastern. Now you get to play for Dudley Hilton. What's that like?
I've been very fortunate. Like you said, I've got to play under and even now coach with some great names, highly respected names in the game of football. And I've learned something from each one of them. Playing and now coaching. I think I like to say that I've taken something from each one of those people, and try to implement it in what I want to do as a football coach.
Talk about Ken Roark. Dudley Hilton, one at Middlesboro, one at Bell County. But you've got a defensive coordinator now with ties to the area as well. Brian Williams comes from Middlesboro several years before your time. But did you know of Coach Williams before his arrival here?
Absolutely. I was kind of like a little kid excited when I heard that he was getting the job because, growing up, that's all you heard was how good Brian Williams was. And it's kind of almost surreal to, end up at the same school as him, coaching under him. And just being able to learn from somebody like that you grew up hearing about and somebody that you respect as much as I do Coach Williams.
Trevor, I've got to ask you the question because you've been playing since you were 5 years old. You've had a great career, able to get your degree, and not a lot of folks get to play at the next level. So certainly that's an accomplishment. This year when August came around, and pads were handed out, and Trevor Hoskins didn't get a set of pads for the first time in a while. What was that feeling like?
Yeah, it's kind of hard feeling to explain. I think walking off that field last year at Union, I had some other opportunities to go and extend my career, but nothing major. But I think I was just ready in my mind to do what I always wanted to do. I've always wanted to be a coach, and I think that I was ready to make that step as I was walking off the field at Union. And up until that point, up until that first game this year, I've been okay with it because it's been such a transition. It's almost overwhelming to haven't had time to think about it. But I remember that Friday practice or the Wednesday practice before we go down to Moorhead, and then we pulled up at Moorhead State. That's when it kind of hit me. But it's progressively gotten easier, and just embracing the coaching side of it.
Seeing the game, you've been a part of the program, you've been in the locker room, you've been in the weight room, you've been in summer camp, you've been in conditioning. Seeing the UPike program from inside the coaching office, from that side of the game, in preparation, in recruiting players, seeing it from that perspective, what have you learned in your short time as a graduate assistant?
Well, I've learned a whole lot. You like to think when you're a player, when I was a player, that you know a little bit about football.
Sure.
But, being a coach is completely different. And making that transition, having guys like Coach Hilton and Coach Williams, who's been around it for so long. And I think even a guy like Coach Holland, it's been impressive to see him be as successful as he has been in such a short amount of time. I think I can relate a lot with him and try to learn from him also. But, like you said, preparation. I mean, we're in that office, pretty much all day trying to get these guys ready to put them in a situation to be successful on Saturdays. And, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. We've talked with some of the players about the amount of time they spend in and around football during the course of a week during the season, 35, 40 hours. It's like a full-time job. Mm-hmm. How many hours do the coaches put in preparation each week?
That's the thing about coaching. There's no set hours. It's not that you're here from this hour to this hour.
Sure.
There's times, wake up at 4 a.m. to make sure everything's ready for practice and things like that. And, there won't be times you don't go home till 9:30, 10 o'clock at night after you, as a grad assistant, after you cut up the film, tag the film, and things like that. But, it's just a process. You got to start somewhere. And, I'm embracing my job. I'm enjoying it, learning a whole lot from these guys. And, hopefully I can carry that on through the rest of my career.
Let's go 10 years down the road. Where do you see Trevor Hoskins?
Well, of course, my ultimate goal is to be a head coach, And, of course, that's going to be a process. I want to eventually be a position coach, maybe an offensive coordinator. But, I've always wanted to coach football. That's something that I've always known that I wanted to do. So 10 years from now, I hope that I'm, still doing what I love to do and being able to be a part of the game of football.
Trevor Hoskins, we hope you're still at the University of Pikeville 10 years from now, playing a big role in a very successful program. You're a big part of the rise of this program. Off to a 4-3 start, and always our pleasure to have you on.
Oh, thank you. The pleasure is mine.
Great guy to run into in the press box, and always very cordial. And he does own the entire quarterback passing record book at the University of Pikeville. Season, and single game, and of course career. Trevor Hoskins, he holds the passing records at the University of Pikeville. We'll step out. When we come back, we'll go to the Bears Den. We'll go to the offensive line. Those guys that don't get a lot of publicity, but they protect guys like Trevor Hoskins and A.J. Graham and give them a little protection to get those passes off. Jacob Ryan, Jumbo, comes up next. The Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. Welcome back in. The Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless, where we talk UPike football. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host, and we step into the Bears Den. It's one of my favorite segments of the show. No offense to Coach Hilton or any of his staff, but I get a chance to meet some of the student athletes. These are the guys that keep me young, and a chance to see guys out of helmets and with a true student's look to them. And I think our folks that are tuned in, they enjoy having a chance to meet these guys without the helmets too and put a face to it, and you become real students. Jacob Ryan, 6'6", sophomore offensive lineman out of Knoxville, Tennessee, our guest. And Jacob Ryan, welcome to the Dudley Hilton Show.
Thank you very much.
Got to say, guys like Trevor Hoskins, A.J. Graham, Reese Browning, they've got to appreciate it when they walk up to the line of scrimmage and they got a 6'6", 340 in front of them. Jacob Ryan, we're going to talk some football. We'll talk about protecting quarterbacks. But first, let's talk about what's most important, because student comes first. What is Jacob Ryan's academic major, and what are your plans?
I'm majoring in communications, and honestly, I want to try and get into recruiting, maybe coaching. But right now, I'm just trying to take football as far as I can.
Absolutely. And like to play at the next level?
I mean, I'd love an opportunity, but I mean, if it's not time, it's not time.
Got the size. You look at 6'6", 340, and you've got some guys that are at the next level that are similar in size. You've been called jumbo. I'm curious why.
My sophomore year, I was bigger than every senior at my school.
And that school, where did you play your high school ball?
Knoxville Central in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay. What about your high school career? What did your team accomplish?
Honestly, we didn't really accomplish much.
Come on now.
My
I
junior
heard of
and
a couple of wins that we haven't gotten to just yet.
We went 4-6 my junior and senior year, but my freshman and sophomore year, we actually beat Coach Hilton and Trevor Hoskins.
So that's a claim to fame of Knoxville Central. You've got to bring that up.
Yeah.
Coach Hilton takes one of his very few losses in his career to Knoxville Central, your team, and then Trevor Hoskins, who also owns many of the U-Pike passing records, also took a loss to Knoxville Central. So when did you begin playing football, Jacob?
In 8th grade.
That late?
My parents couldn't afford it up till then.
Yeah. I know a lot of guys, they'll start much younger, but started as an 8th grader. By sophomore year, you're bigger than every other boy in school. When did the bug hit that Jacob Ryan knew that I might want to go at the next level and see if I can get a scholarship to play this game?
Well, my dad's disabled, and my mom brings the money to the household, and I figured football was the only way I was going to get into college.
Sure.
And further my education and, get a degree and get a decent job someday.
Yeah. Get your head on straight. Communication major, and it was good to hear that you're not going into broadcasting as well, or any type of media.
Yes.
So stick with that recruiting thing. It may pay off for you, and if you need to, back into a broadcasting job, maybe I'll be long gone.
Okay.
Okay. You guys make me nervous when you start majoring in communications. One of you will take my job. Let's talk about football. Who has been your biggest football influence in your career?
Let's see. Now, influence, do you mean by like a coach or a certain player?
Coach, someone around the game, someone that threw it around in the backyard with you?
Biggest influence, I'd have to say, in high school was my offensive line coach, Kevin Lane. And honestly, he was just always there, kept pushing us. And I remember we used to have to push our sled up the hill. And the sophomores and JV players would always get to push it down. I always begged him every day. I was like, can't we just push it downhill once?
Just one time.
And he's like, no, you're going to get better. So kept getting better, and here I am.
Yeah, that's certainly a lesson in hard work and what it takes to get to the next level. Jacob Ryan from Knoxville Central, and how did you arrive at the University of Pikeville? Let's talk about that recruiting process that you might want to head toward as a career.
Well, coming out of high school, I went to a D2 school in Greenville, Tennessee, Tusculum College.
Right.
Then some things happened there, and I sat out for 6 months. And then Hunter Adams actually told me that they were looking for offensive linemen up here. And I came up on a visit and signed my letter of intent and packed my bags and came in January.
When was your first trip to Pikeville?
Let's see, December of, what was it? December of 2010.
Yeah. First visit to Pikeville, what were your first impressions of the community?
Small town.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like the small town setting. Not much to do, so you can't get in trouble, but you get a good group of friends and you can make it.
Absolutely. Jacob Ryan, offensive lineman, 6'6", 340-pounder, and I'd certainly welcome him across the front in the trenches for me if I'm throwing the ball or running the ball. Jacob Ryan, goals of being a communication major, maybe going into recruiting or coaching in your career, and you certainly seem like you've got your head on straight.
Thank you.
And during the highlights tonight, made mention of the offensive line. There were some big holes this past weekend against Bethel. Talk about your offensive line coach here, and talk about some of the goals that offensive linemen might have going into any particular game.
Okay, well, Coach Heinemann's definitely helped us. I mean, strength and conditioning coach here, and he's carried us not only like through some hard times, but he's made us push ourselves and become a better line as a whole. Our whole goal into going into the Bethel game was 165 rushing yards, and every time we came off the field, he was like 165, 165, and we came out. I mean, after the game was over, we came out and he's like, "You got about 250." So I was like, "Good deal. We got our goal." But I mean, we always try and we are always trying to run the ball, but our offense is run read. So you never know when the quarterback's going to pull it and chuck it downfield.
Right.
So we always get yelled at for going too far.
There you go.
You got our little 5 yards and we got to drop.
There you have it. Jacob Ryan, 6'6", 340-pound offensive lineman out of Knoxville, Tennessee. A welcome addition to that offensive line. Those guys in the trenches that don't get enough attention from us broadcasters and from fans. Your job certainly is appreciated by the running backs, by the quarterbacks, and by us when we get a chance to step back and realize that you've got 250 yards on the ground or the quarterback hasn't been sacked. You are appreciated, and we try to get you guys a few more shout-outs this week against Georgetown.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for being our guest. Good luck the rest of the year. Jacob Ryan, 6'6", 340 pounds, sophomore offensive lineman out of Knoxville, Tennessee. When we come back, we'll go to the defensive side. Demetrius Taylor when we return on the Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. Welcome back in. The Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host, as we talk U-Pike football. The Bears coming off a 35-24 win over Bethel on Saturday, and now 4-3 on the season. We'll stay in the Bears' den, and we'll go to the defensive side. And Demetrius Taylor, 5'9", redshirt freshman out of Kissimmee, Florida, joins us now. Welcome to the Dudley Hilton Show.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Demetrius, I have to ask you, because student comes first and student athlete, we talk about academics, and have you declared a major yet?
Yes, sir. English major.
What do you plan to do in the future?
Become an English teacher, go back home, probably coach some football.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
English, why that chosen subject? I'm curious.
One of my favorite coaches from back in high school, he was an English major. He kind of got me into it, so I started to like it.
It's not something that we hear often. I'm not sure I've ever heard an English major on the Dudley Hilton Show before. I've had some guys that wanted to major in leisure time activities and things like that, but
Yes,
English, it's a little bit of an odd subject, but an influence in your life, obviously. You say he was a coach who coached and taught English.
Yes, sir.
Was he one of the most important influences in your life growing up in football?
Not most important, I would say. Probably my father, probably most important.
Yeah. Father, a big supporter?
Yeah, he's a big supporter. He tried to come to all the games.
Take us back to when you began playing football. When did you put on the pads the first time?
Well, I started with flag at the age of 4, but after that, that's when I started using pads.
Could you outrun everyone else when you were 4?
Nah, I couldn't.
Because I've got a feeling Demetrius Taylor did.
Nah,
when he
not
was
at
4, he
4.
was tough to catch.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, there's a lot of fast guys down there in Florida. So.
Yeah. First put on the pads, you started flag at 4. When did you first put on the pads?
Probably at age 5, the next year after
There you go.
I played 1 year flag.
When did you decide that, this football thing may be something I want to play in college?
When my dad started pushing me, because I was into football, but I wasn't really thinking about the next level like that. I liked it, but he started pushing me more, and I started thinking I probably could do it and save some money, getting a scholarship.
Sure. Did you play other sports in high school?
Yeah, I played basketball and I ran track.
What's your best sport?
Football.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
There you go. Demetrius Taylor, defensive back out of Kissimmee, Florida. Let's talk about your biggest football influence. You say your dad. Tell us why your dad's your biggest influence.
Cause he went to college for football, got into kind of like an accident. He went blind in one eye, so he couldn't really fulfill his dreams into it. So I feel like he was living through me a little bit.
Sure.
So I feel like I was doing it for him and me.
Absolutely, and that's a great story, and certainly inspirational that you are able to play at the next level. Now let's talk about Kissimmee, Florida, and Pikeville, Kentucky. They are a long way apart.
Yeah, it's way different.
Demetrius, how did you first get from Kissimmee to Pikeville? When did you first hear of the University of Pikeville?
Well, I had a teammate, Stephen Morales. He came up here first, and he was telling me about it or whatever, and I didn't have much options because I broke my leg my senior year, so I didn't have much options. And Dwayne Brown's not here anymore as a former defense coordinator. He coached at one of the rival high schools in my county.
Right.
So he already knew him well enough, so brought me up here.
He knew you were a player.
Yes, sir.
What were your thoughts of Pikeville upon arriving for the first time?
It was way different, real small, but sometimes that's what you need, keep your head straight.
Yeah. Is it easier to stay focused
Yeah.
in a small town like Pikeville? Could you see yourself playing football maybe in a larger city in Florida?
I could probably see it because I'm from there, I'm used to it. But up here is better because you could just stay focused on your studies and football, stuff like that.
How many hours a week does Demetrius Taylor spend in the classroom, in study hall, doing homework?
I got 3 hours of study hall, and Coach always said you should have 3 hours without assigned study hall, so about 6 hours.
6 hours, and then class time as well.
Yes, sir.
And then football time, you start adding it all together, and you're putting in some hours.
Yes, sir. You ain't got much time to do much.
Full-time job keeps you out of trouble.
Yes, sir.
Idle hands. Let's talk about some personal goals for Demetrius Taylor. What are some personal goals for you as far as football goes? Where do you want to land?
I just want to do my job for my teammates so we can all win as a team. I'm not really a personal guy like that. Just the whole team getting to win, and it's fine with me.
Team effort definitely Saturday against Bethel, defensive side especially.
Yes, sir.
Everyone contributed on the defensive side. Let's talk about the changes in defensive coordinator. You talked about Coach Brown, and this year Brian Williams moves into the defensive coordinator spot. What are the differences like for a defensive player?
But Coach Brown was like kind of laid back. When Coach Williams was up in your face, he's gonna yell at you, he's gonna get you going. But that's good. That's what we needed. That's why we've been playing better this year.
Sometimes a player just needs challenged a little.
Yes, sir.
Is that what you're used to in high school? Did you have a coach like that in high school? Head coach, assistant coach, was there somebody on the staff that was that guy that was the in-your-face challenge guy?
Yeah, my head coach was my uncle. So it was like he can get real close up into me and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm used to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Playing for Coach Dudley Hilton, what's that like?
It's pretty fun. He a jokester, so it's pretty cool.
Also, I don't know if you realized the winningest Kentucky high school football coach.
Yeah, he's a legend around here.
Yeah, he's a legend, and we remind him of that from time to time because has this program certainly in the right direction. Georgetown Saturday, scouting report on the Tigers.
I mean, we never beat them before. That's what everybody talk about, but we're not trying to hit that. We're not scared of them. We've never been scared of them, so we're going to go down there and get W.
You've had a chance to see the film. Is this a winnable game?
Yes, sir.
Going to take care of business.
Yes, sir.
All right. We're going to travel to Scott County, get a win over Georgetown on Saturday. Demetrius Taylor, 5'9", defensive back out of Kissimmee, Florida, our guest. He's an English major, one of those smart guys. And we'll check in on the literary world with you. So let us know what your favorite books are next time. Thanks for being on the show.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure seeing you out in that secondary. He's a dandy, one of the members of the secondary for this UPike defensive unit. Demetrius Taylor, our guest on the Dudley Hilton Show. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, Coach Dudley Hilton returns. We'll get a scouting report on Georgetown and set the stage for Saturday. You're watching the Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless.
Oh,
Welcome back in. The Dudley Hilton Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host, rejoined by Coach Dudley Hilton. We talk U-Pike football, and another set of great examples of the U-Pike program. Of course, Trevor Hoskins, graduate assistant, also Jacob Ryan and Demetrius Taylor, guys from the offensive and defensive side, very well spoken.
Well, you did a great job with them, and I'll tell you, you got to have something to work with. And I think these three guys tonight y'all handled the show well, and I tell you, just outstanding young men. And I'm just so proud of them as well as I am about everybody we bring on here. But something special about tonight. Those guys did a great job for you.
I think the folks that tune in get a chance to see these guys and hear the story, because each one has a story to tell, and it's more than just a college football player that they see on Saturdays. They get a chance to hear their individual stories, and I think there have been some tremendous stories and some very well-spoken young men.
Well, you know, and I'll tell you what interested me too. Both the young men you had there was recruited by players off our football team, and you know, Hunter Adams helped get Big Jumbo here, and then the Morales boy helped get Demetri Taylor here. So you know, the coaches helps a little bit, but it's nothing like players selling their program, and that makes me feel good because you know, both those Hunter and Morales are both players that played here at University of Pikeville.
Absolutely, they have some belief in the program, and we do too. The Bears 4-3 heading to Georgetown Saturday. The Tigers ranked number 11 in the country last week. Hard-fought loss to the University of Cumberland, the number 2 ranked team in the country. And Georgetown is Georgetown. You know what you're going to get.
Oh, yes. Coach Cronin got a fine program down there, and I know people around here don't like them, but, you know, it don't make no difference. They run a good football program, and, you know, I got a high respect for their program, and we've played them pretty tough the last couple of years, and I feel confident this team feels better about themselves. They're more of a fighter now, and you know, we'll go and fight, and I think by doing that, it gives us a chance. And I think you know, as far as a chance, we got a better chance this year than we've had since I've been here, and I feel confident this football team will go and fight. And you know, if he keeps it in the game, who knows at the end that these Bears wouldn't have a chance to bring a sweet victory back here to Pikeville.
I'm going to tell you why folks around here don't like Georgetown. They don't beat them in football. You get a win this Saturday, we'll start liking Georgetown.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be okay with Georgetown.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Let's get a win. I see a lot of confidence in the players that I've spoken to tonight and around campus this week. I certainly feel like it's a winnable game, and I get a sense the players do too.
Yeah, you know, like I said, you know, Bethel beat Georgetown last year, and oh, heck, if Bethel can do it, we beat Bethel, and we ought to feel good. You know, Faulkner went down and gave them a good whooping a few weeks ago, and you know, last time we played Faulkner, we beat Faulkner. So you know, those things going to happen. You look at all these things in the SEC this past weekend, what all the teams, Vanderbilt and some of them had those big upsets, and well, I don't even know if it's be an upset. We've learned how to fight, and we'll go fight, and you know, I think we got confidence now, and that's going to help us.
It's a great time to be a Bear. Coach Dudley Hilton, good luck Saturday.
Thank you very much, Andrew.
Coach Dudley Hilton, he's our coach of the University of Pikeville Bears. 4-3 at Georgetown Saturday, 1:30 kickoff from Toyota Stadium. We'll be on the air at 1:15 on your official home of Bears football, Z1075 and PikeTV.com. On behalf of Dudley Hilton, graduate assistant Trevor Hoskins, Jacob Ryan, offensive lineman, Demetrius Taylor from the defensive secondary, and all the guys at Pike TV and East Kentucky Broadcasting, I'm Andrew Joyce. Thanks for tuning in.